Hello recipe lovers, and it's time for another video blog, and this little thing is about cropping stuff. Catherine picked these the other day. They look like cherries, don't they? But they're not cherries. No, crab apples. Yes, lovely crab apples. Now, we've made jelly from these a few years ago. Last year we just let them decay on the trees and the birds got them. The red sentinel variety, little cherry variety of crab apples, but they make absolutely beautiful crab apple jelly. So we're going to make some today. That'd be great. It's lovely at Christmas to have with your cold meats. Every gardener's nightmare. We picked these carrots last night. As you can see, we wanted some for our tea. They've been infected by the dreaded carrot root fly. Something that eternally happens as a gardener. Things don't always turn out the way you want them to, and now we're going to have to basically later on today take up the entire crop and rescue what we can of the crop. There are some that haven't been touched. These are little baby carrots, little tiny ones that normally you grow in window boxes and stuff, you know, the little sort of like tiny. That's a good one. Little tiny carrots, and we tried them in a raised bed this year. We haven't tried them in that raised bed before, just to see how they go. Some you win, some you lose. There's no great shakes. It's we'll try them another method next year, or perhaps another variety, and see how we get on. Perhaps cover them with micro mesh. That could help, because what happens is when you're taking carrots on a regular basis from a particular bed, the carrot root fly can smell the fact that you've moved the carrots in the soil, and so they lay eggs by the side of the carrots, and then their little larvae burrow down into the root and do all this damage to the roots, which make them not very appetizing. I suppose if we were living in a famine and all the crops failed, I'd probably eat them. But as we're not in that yet, in that mode, we'll have to compost them and put them on the compost bin. So there's a failure, but you know, onwards and upwards. A few days ago, I picked some turnips. There we go, golden ball turnips. I just left them in water just to keep the tops. The tops are actually edible. You can eat them. Okay, you can just boil them up or steam them, cut them off, and use them like cabbage or greens or anything, you know. So you can use the tops. But what I'm going to do with these is, Halloween's coming up, so you may remember what you used to do as a kid. We used to make jack-o'-lantern heads out of turnips. Before pumpkins, you know, we're talking about the 1960s, early 70s, before we have ever heard of pumpkins, because pumpkins was an American thing. We used to make jack-o'-lanterns out of turnips. So I'm going to make a few out of turnips, and I'm going to use the insides to just boil up with some potatoes, mashed potatoes, and mix them in, so I'm not wasting anything. I might even do a demonstration of how to make them, if anyone's interested in knowing how to make them. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought it'd be an interesting thing to do, to ward off evil spirits, and maybe perhaps give us a better crop next year. and maybe we won't get carrot root fly. Who knows? Here we've got some. I picked some Christmas potatoes. These were Nicola, which I put in July, but I think the cold winds got them, so the foliage had died back. So I thought I'll pick them up and see what they're like, and literally like pebbles, tiny, really tiny. So they haven't done too well. Some Roma tomatoes that were ripe, and the beautiful Italian type tomatoes, lovely texture, nice in on pizzas and stuff like that, bologneses. So they've ripened up really nicely. Over here we've got some beetroot, which I've cut the tops off. Actually used the tops for cooking, you know, the side salad. Beetroot leaves make a lovely side salad for you know, perhaps pie dinner or stuff like that. You know, it's really nice. Beetroots, basically, that's we cleaned them up a bit, but we'd actually boiled them like that. You know, don't take the tops off, don't tail them or anything, because what happens then is all the colour leaches out into the water. So best thing is just to boil them whole like that, and then when they're boiled, you can just actually just scrape the skin off, and then you can slice them or pickle them or whatever you want to do with beetroot. But they're beautiful vegetable beetroots. These are Baltardi that we've been growing. The catch crop really. We just fitted them in between something else we were growing. Nice crop. I brought some red demon red chili peppers, and I brought them down to the bottom of the garden here, because these down here they get some it's a sheltered place, and they get early morning sunshine. So the thing about chilies is ripening them. You can see they're only very small, but to get them ripe they need warmth really. So hopefully, you know, they get a bit of warmth, and we can ripen them up here. I've started picking them. You can see here, fiery hot. They're just one of those tiny little peppers. That's all you need in a curry, you know, to make a really warming curry. They've got a lovely flavour to them as well. So it's not just about the heat, but you know, the flavoursome. And what you can do is, if you really enjoy the chilies, is you can take the seeds. You can take the seeds out of these and plant them up again for next year. I'm going to try and overwinter these plants here, because I actually I grew these in an aero garden. I don't know if you've ever tried an aero garden, but it's a garden. It's an indoor thing, which you grow your plants without soil, in water basically, and it gives a nice strong root set. And I started them off in January this year, and I kept them in the aero garden for about a month and made them really strong. Now what I'm going to try and do is come in this winter, when the frosts come, I'm going to try and cut them back and bring the roots, bring the pots inside, and see if we can overwinter them and have the same plants to grow next year. Because surprisingly, the peppers are actually perennials. You know, you can grow them every year. So I'm going to try that this year. That's a new thing. We'll see how we get on with that. We've had a pretty disappointing onion crop this year, due to the very hot, dry weather we've had. I mean, we've normally got dozens of these onion ropes hanging around, but this is a variety called Styron, which we harvested in about June, I think it was, or July, and that's about it. That's our overwintering onion crop. There's not much left, and they're very small as well. You know, they're quite, as you can see, they're very small onions. Normally we get, you know, onion ropes and we make them, and they're really weighty affairs and they last us all through the winter, but this year, and that's about it, you know. Not much to show really. But you can't control the elements, so you just got to go with it really. Again, potatoes haven't been this good this year. I mean, these are our Desiree potatoes. These are the last of what we've had. We've not had a bad crop of potatoes considering how hot and dry it's been. A mammoth task to try and water potatoes on the allotment when it's in dry weather. It's constant watering. They do take up a lot of liquid, and it's very difficult to keep on top of them. So, I mean, we've given potatoes away. We've had enough crop to actually give stuff away, so that's good. But not as high yields as we normally get. So, yeah, we've put in some Christmas potatoes. That hasn't worked either. They've been a bit under. Well, got a bit frostbitten with the cold nights coming up and stuff. So, yeah, swings and roundabouts this year, really. I mean, not a bad year for crops. I mean, some things have done really well, like the peppers, and turnips have done exceptionally well, actually. Crab apples have done well. Yeah, some things have done really well, and some things, you know, it's like in life, isn't it? You've got your winners and your losers. So, now, remember them carrots I was telling you about? Carrot root fly infestations. Well, this is the crop here, and so what I'm going to have to do today is basically, let's take them up, and you can see, can't see them very well, but they're all basically infested with them, so I'm going to have to compost all of this bed here. So that's the first job of the day. So we'll see what we can salvage, what we can get out of this lot then. So let's get on with that. I've just picked these carrots from the bed here, and on the face of it they look perfectly fine, but like I said, the ones I picked the other day were, you know, once you clean them up you realise that they're infested with carrot root fly, and I've just cleaned up a few here, and my worst fears are realised. Yeah, they're absolutely devastated with carrot root fly. So what I'm going to have to do is perhaps go through all of these. I'll probably take some of them home, clean them up, and there may be something usable out of some of them, but I doubt it, because once they get a hold, they get a hold. So they've infested the entire bed, so the rest will have to be composted. So A learning curve with carrots. I don't grow many carrots. We don't grow many carrots on the plots. This is our first season for many years that we've grown them. So perhaps next year if I use a micro mesh on them, or perhaps get a carrot fly resistant variety. These ones are supposed to be the little tiny carrots that you sow in. They're called baby bells, I think they're called. But you sow them in raised beds and window pots and stuff like that. So, but they haven't done too well. Anyway, it's all about learning. So that's cropping for you. Okay, that's all from the plot today. Hope you've enjoyed it, and if you do like our videos, then please subscribe and make any comments you want to make down below, and we hope to see you next time. So from Phil and Kat at Mersey Beat Gardening, it's
bye for now.
Bye for now.